Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I am Muhammad Ismail. I'm Egyptian originally, and I lived in Japan for almost like 9 years. I've studied engineering in Cairo University. After that, I studied Arabic language and Islamic studies in Cairo University as well, Darul Uloom faculty. And then I studied deeply in Hadith and Islamic studies and Arabic language in Mecca and Mukarrama. So this is like simply my educational background. And I would love to do da'wah and to convey the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to convey the truth for people. So we were traveling around Africa and Asia, and then we were finding Japan like a very, very unique place, and very, very few Muslims went there to convey the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I was excited to go and to convey the message of Allah, yes.
Yeah, mashallah. Can you tell us a little bit about Japan and what the ummah in Japan is like?
Well, great. Japan is a big population country. It's like 124 million person. And out of 124 millions, you'll find just 250,000 Muslim, which is less than 0.5%. Very few Muslims in Japan. And out of these 250,000 Muslim, there are around 40,000 Japanese Muslim. And the rest are immigrants, mostly from Indonesia, and then Pakistan, Bangladesh, India. Yeah, these are the major communities from Muslims. Japanese people, they're mostly, you can say, agnostic. They do not believe in anything. The background is Buddhism and Shintoism. So these two main religions, they were found in Japan long time ago. And you'll find the temples of Shintoism and Buddhism. However, they very rare to go to these temples, and they go there in some rituals like funerals and festivals. That's it. They don't study religion. So Japanese people, they are a bit sensitive to some, like, very deep religions talks. Yeah. And however, they love cultures and they love to learn. So they are always curious to know more and more about other nations and other people. So from that perspective, many times we got requests to explain more about Islam, to introduce Islam for them. Schools, universities, colleges, even some governmental departments, even the Japanese parliament. They invited the Muslim da'is in Tokyo more than 10 times to introduce Islam inside the parliament. And the national TV, NHK, they have many episodes about Islam, which is really very positive.
MashaAllah. So it's not much Islamophobia, or more love and welcoming towards Islam?
Well, of course, there is a little bit because of the international media about terrorism and this stuff. But I believe so far it's one of the best, like, they don't have this Islamophobia. So, like, there is no Islamophobia from the Muslim appearance. And they deal with Muslims very nicely. They have very high respect. And they care about Muslims. So it's totally fine to be like a Muslim there. Yeah, and as well, quickly I'll tell you that the first masjid was built in Japan. It was built in 1935, before World War II. It was in Kobe. Kobe, that is a city, and it has a big port for trading, and the Muslim traders would go there. So they built the first masjid in 1935, and this masjid till now, as it is, it was not affected by bombing of World War II. You will find photos, it's available on Google even, that everything is destroyed except the masjid. It was type of a miracle. In the huge earthquake of 1995, most of buildings was demolished, and the masjid was, alhamdulillah, nothing damaged. So that was the first masjid built in Japan 4 years ago, around only 1 or 2 masajid in Japan. Right now, more than 180 masjid in Japan. Alhamdulillah. Nah.
So what are some common misconceptions about Islam among Japanese people, and how do you and your people address them?
Well, I guess one of the main misconceptions definitely is Islam and terrorism. And that's because of the media, showing always like there is some terrorist attacks here and there, which is actually showing part, and sometimes, many times it's not true, and not showing the other part, the other faith people, how they are doing also a lot of terrorist attacks. So, of course, we try to explain this by the surveys from the resources of the non-Muslims even. We tell them, see the surveys, how much is the percentage of the Muslim attacks. If it is true, how much compared to other religions or to other faith people. So, this is, of course, many Japanese, they hear about it. The other misconception, which is a bit strange, that Japanese people, they think that Islam is for Arabs. They don't think that Islam can be for Japanese. Some of them, of course, not all, but I speak about like spread misconception in the country. So we try to clarify this and tell them that the biggest Islamic country regarding population is Indonesia. It's just beside you. People look like you. This is the biggest Islamic country in the world. So they're surprised. Most of them, they think it's Egypt or Saudi Arabia or like this. So this type of information, it really helps to take away the imagination that Islam is just for the Arab land. Yes.
MashaAllah. So how would you describe the status of Islam in Japan today, and how has it evolved over the years?
Yeah, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. As you know, Islam is growing everywhere, and also Islam is growing in Japan. Last year, there was a survey, or there was some announcement from Waseda University in Tokyo. And this is one of the best universities in Japan. And they mentioned that Islam is the fastest growing religion in Japan. And Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, now almost Muslims reach 250,000. And in the past, they were just not more than 25,000. So it's like getting more and more better. People are reverting every week all over the country. You will find at least 10 Japanese every week all over Japan, which is quite a lot compared to the past. So definitely Islam is growing in Japan. Alhamdulillah, we are getting very well accommodated by the Japanese government. So Islam, Alhamdulillah, is growing very well in Japan.
What challenges do Japanese Muslims face in practicing their faith in a predominantly non-Muslim society?
Yeah, this is a bit challenging, to be honest. For us as foreigners, we are in Japan, we don't face maybe a lot of issues. But when it comes to a Japanese Muslim, what does a Japanese Muslim face in his society? It's mostly like with his, in his job. It depends, But many places, they consider that it's difficult to practice Islam in their companies or in their workplace. They accept it from foreigner, but they don't accept it from the Japanese. They accept a foreigner to wear hijab, but a Japanese lady to wear hijab, it's for them like very difficult to accept. So, of course, I'm not generalizing. I'm speaking about like many cases. So, yeah, sometimes, for example, it's like type of a custom, or let's say tradition in the Japanese companies, that they go for drinking all the company stuff every 1 or 2 months, and no one can be absent. So everyone goes and they drink together. So as a Muslim, working with them, if he's absent, they will look bad at him. And if he's going, of course, he cannot drink. So it's like a bit challenging in some parts for the Japanese Muslims, to be honest, to practice, fully practicing. It's not so easy sometimes. And some places they are very nice.